Hello, good evening. Today I have a very interesting topic to share with all of you. This is about biology, and biology we know most of the doctors and the folks who are looking to have a career in a medical or medicine or pathology they do, right? But minimum biology we all must know. And what is that? It has been changing after the research. We get new finding, and then there is a different perception. But there is a basic biology which we all must understand to keep our health and mind in a shape. It is important to understand the very basic things about our life. And what is that? 6,000 years back, when the organism started emanating, that time, or I must say, when the microorganism started genesing, what we had, those were so microorganism. We cannot see them through bare eyes. We need a very sophisticated, very higher end microscope to see those organisms which were emanated first time. Those were single cell organism, or what we call it amoeba, algae, right? And since those organisms were made of single cell, those cells are pretty much free to do any sort of things. Their lifespan was very, very short. 30 minutes is the lifespan for those micro species. And then we evolve and we see species which are made of multi-cell. Why? Because our single cell organism were fighting to have a more lifespan. We always have this mindset that our lifespan must increase, and if we inculcate such things, it is 100% found in many research that if we inculcate anything or feed anything in our mind, it happens. And that is why we got multi-cell organism. Multi-cell organism again slowly evolve, and then we started seeing animals, bigger species like a human, elephant, wild animals, right? But here is the cut. Here is the basic information. Each cell has a capability to act like a tiny human. If it is a human cell, it acts like a tiny human. If that cell belongs to some different species, that cell is a tiny segment of that species. So what we have perceived so far, we our body, one side of our body does other thing, another side of body does another thing, one part of the body does this, that may be the for the large scale. Like we have a power station which is generating power. Then we have a small power station which is distributing power to the domestic usage or different purpose. Similarly, our cell also has a tool which generates power to power that cell, like mitochondria, right? So each cell has a mitochondria in it. And our body has a bigger mitochondria which generates power to our body, power to move from one place to another, power to talk, power to thought, power to think, and uh, power to do anything, right? We have a different signal, we have different energy, and that is why we have different interest, different activity. In our body we have close to 1,25,000 different signals. Those are combined, are generated from the 1,25,000 different uh, combination of protein and amino acid, and that is pretty much feeded into our DNA. So our DNA says that how many proteins we are going to have. If it is human body, it is somewhere close to 1 lakh proteins, different kind of. If it is a different animal, it has a different number of proteins. Similarly, we have around 20 to 25,000 amino acid, which we call a referred DNA or RNA. Similarly, for different animal, there is a different number of amino acid. But protein and amino acid forms the, basically amino acid forms the uh, DNA, and all these acid and protein, different kind of, they have some charge on it, and that charge is connected based on the chromosome what we have. So combination of different amino acid that forms a particular shape that gives a signal to take a shape, or that helps us to get that contour of human or contour of different animal, right? So these are all inputs are there in our DNA, and our DNA transform a human body, and the signals basically enter into protein, and protein takes its shape. And same concept is applies to any living things. Now there is a different biology, and this is called new biology. What it says, DNA is a one thing. All the input what is being fed into DNA is coming from the environment. So climate where you live, where you were born, people among you live, discuss, talk, values what you have been practicing, culture, all that are going into your DNA. So when we say that, hey, that person or he or she come from a very affluent family or come from a very remote area, and they have uh, difficulty to uh, compete with other folks who have gone to a very premium college schools and come from very affluent family, they cannot beat, no, these poor community cannot beat with the folks who are privileged. But those things are temporary. If you change your perception, if you change your environment, and you start making effort to have a better environment, things can be changed. We cannot say that since during the childhood time I lived into that kind of situation, and that is why I lived in a family, or I lived in a group which was uh, filled with a lot of monster people, monsteric people, right? Or people who are having criminal mindset, or their tendency is towards the crime, right? All that are temporary. If you change or come out from that, you'll definitely see a significant change according to your contemporary environment, topology or ecology or environment, atmosphere, whatever you name it, wherever you are moving, your DNA would start taking the input from the environment and transform your things, your mindset, your ideas, all that into according to new environment. That is why we see a person who was living in one place, let's say living in India, and later he moved to, or she moved to a different country, and now the kind of disease what they are having, or the way how they speak, they are pretty much reflecting that place, right? Because there was a potential change which is an environment, right? That is why we observe that. So if we are thinking to make a progress on certain things, and you see that your past is a kind of obstruction, if there is a will there is a way. So if you are going into different environment, expect that there would be some change in your thinking, in your way of living, in your process how you take it. There is a significant change. So change can be adopted at any given time, at any age. That's the new biology, right? As you make a progress, and as you uh, understand the environment and study about it, and then feed that environment into your body, so all can be changed. We have something called magical membrane. So magical membrane is a route or a bridge between environment and our body. So whatever coming from the environment, in the form of energy, in the form of sound, or in the form of food, or in the form of nature, that all coming through the our membrane, from membrane to cell, cell to DNA, and DNA to protein, and protein takes input and execute along with signals. Now, how we can keep our membrane open for all positive inputs coming from the environment? There are two ways. One is keep our thoughts always open. Be very mindful about atmosphere, about people with whom you are spending time, and keep your membrane pretty much receptive for anything. Do not block anything, right? A lot of times what we have done, or what we do, is block ourselves by thoughts, and those thoughts are pretty much very well received by the membrane, and membrane also blocks. Hey, I don't want to make a lot of friends. I want to be very much in a private affair. And when we inculcate such thought, our body also reacts in a same way. It blocks a lot of things. I don't want to go outside because I'll feel sick, and the environment or weather conditions are very volatile outside there, and because of that I'll feel sick. And that thought is also somewhere relating or related to all the sickness what you have. If you keep positive thinking, like hey, this is a pretty much my ecosystem, this is pretty much where I have been born and raised, and working, living, all that. If you just feed, even if you are not living in such places, still a lot of improvement, a lot of treatment can be done just by having a right thinking, right thought. I'll tell you one story which happened somewhere in Europe. A person who has a completely damaged skin, except his face, pretty much everything was non-human front look, and he was going to for a treatment. He was going to very renowned dermatologist who is not just expert in skin related things, but also in many, and his reputation is not just limited to Europe. He is pretty much considered to be one of the dermatologists at international, at global level, right? What we have. So this guy has been treating this patient, this boy, let's say Peter, uh, but his skin is not showing any improvement, any sign of improvement, and it has been a year. And from somewhere, he got a suggestion that I know you are going to be, I mean, you are going for a treatment to one of a very well-known expertise what we have here in Europe. But I would say that seek advice from some different doctors. Sometimes experts, they don't have a solution for a problem, but a very local person can treat you. And he was also going to that expert dermatologist for a very long time, and he took this suggestion, and he went to a different doctor who is treating its patient in a different approach. He is using energy signal instead of pharmaceutical, right? So he treats his patient based on the electromagnetic signals, or what we call is physiotherapy, or what we have chiropractor or acupuncture way of treating different disease, because our body has a different pressure point at a different level, and if you are very much aware about those pressure points, what it does and how uh, those pressure point reacts to your pressure what you get there, if you are very familiar with those things, you can pretty much treat your body for everything, right? See, our body is completely designed in a very complex way. uh, Having any harmful thought or trying to risk a human body or any living things, they have their immunity, they have their resilience power, they immediately resilient, so their resiliency towards that threat. What happened in COVID-19 when we got this, right? Same thing. Why we have so many variant of COVID virus? Because the first COVID virus, which gone through various treatment, what human did to kill that virus, he took that threat and start its resilient power, and that is why we have so many variant of virus, which was basically learning from the environment and trying to emulate with resiliency, and that is why what we saw so many variant of COVID virus, right? So same applies to us or any living things. If they see risk, threat, they try their full power to protect itself. That is why we have observed from 30-minute lifespan to few species on the planet have more than 3 year, 4 year, 5 year lifespan. Why? Because if we are happy, we always seek to have a bigger lifespan so that we can enjoy for longer time, right? So that is what happened. To understand the every detail of a species in 1985, almost every medical institutions, they started contributing to one global project, which was collecting genome sample. Genome is nothing but our all the minute details about our RNA, how many RNA we have, how many amino acid we have in one particular species, and the protein what we have, right? All that complete structure, comprehensive detail about one species is called genome. And the project was launched, and their whole idea was to document the genome of every species which are found on our planet, so that when we have any pandemic kind of situation, we can just go refer the genome of that new virus, that virus or the thing which is causing pandemic, and we can apply the treatment. Here also, when COVID-19 encountered, right, our first effort was to check the genome of that virus. And voila, there was a no genome for that virus because that virus is new to us. It was unprecedented time because we have no idea about this new enemy, and it is emanating itself, and resilient power in that species is really very high. And then we started studying its genome, DNA, the effect and everything, and it takes time, but almost in a 1.5 year, our scientists and doctors were able to understand the genome of this virus, and then finally came up with the vaccine, right? So, having positive thought, see, the first one cell creature, what they wanted to have a more lifespan, and that is why we are here today, right? So, even if you have a genuine problem, and if you keep thinking that this problem is going to go away from me, a significant fraction of that problem oozes out. Coming back to that boy, he started consulting another doctor who treating its patient based on the energy. And what he said that I'm trying out something new, which is completely new in medical science, and if it works, very good. He did not share this message, but doctor was trying to do something like that. And he said that to that boy, I know you are coming from a very well known doctor. He's a very expert on the skin related issues, skin related disease. And we have a very few expert like that in the world. But I can assure you that you are going to do well here in my clinic. And he started calling him every day and started feeding this positive thought that your skin is showing improvement every day. Whenever uh, patient comes, he, with sheer dedication, with sheer integrity, he says that, boy, you are really doing great. And this boy is not seeing those sign of improvement. He's saying that, doctor, I don't see anything. And then that physiotherapist, he said that I could see that there is a improvement in your skin, which is touching the bone which is inside of your skin, not the top one. And he started feeding this message to that boy every time when he comes, and then with full committed, dedicated, and with integrity, that he was not faking anything. He said that this is how it is. And with that treatment, the boy was all good after 1.5 year. See, our body is a kind of a mess of electromagnetic field, because each cell connected with the other cell directly. Doesn't matter. We are talking about the cell which are in our feet, or cell which are in our mind. Everything, right, left leg, every cell are connected with each other directly, right? No sequential, like the feet cells are talking to the calf cell, and calf cells are talking to knee, and knee to waist, and waist to chest, and then neck, and then it is coming to the mind. No, every cell, we have almost like 50 trillion cell in our body, and all those cells are connected directly to each other, which implies our body is a mess of cell, and those all cell has a energy in it. So our body is a mess of energy, different kind of energy, but it is a mess of energy, right? And if you use physiotherapy way or chiropractic way, who basically use power forced at a different point in our body and treat its patient, which means they generate energy electromagnetic field if they are pressing here or they are pressing here anywhere, if he, like this, that disturb the energy behind this place, and that energy disturb other process in a certain direction, and that eventually treat different disease. And it is much faster way because speed of our energy electromagnetic cells are much higher than what it is through the medicine. So electromagnetic field speed is somewhere around 1,86,000 kilometer per second, and treating that through allopathy is just a few centimeter per second, because it takes time to dissolve that medicine, and then the effect of those chemicals would come in touch of our body materials, and then they react, and then there is energy, and then they travel. Okay, so all that takes a good time, and then it starts its treating process. Whereas electromagnetic way, it starts immediately in a very high speed. So if you know the things, if you know the points, all that, anybody, even cancer treatment also can be done without any chemical solution. That is why we have heard so many times a different meditation gurus are saying that, hey, we can treat even cancer with meditation, with yoga. Why? Because they are talking about those energy, electromagnetic energy what we have in our body, right? That is why they are saying that. And all those thoughts, you must be thinking, hey, these are the input coming from the yoga gurus, meditation people, I mean people who are doing meditation. It has been trialed on the clinical experiment, and all those outcomes what we were talking comes from the yoga and meditation are proven clinically. There is a very popular doctor whose name is Daniel Goleman. He has conducted almost 20 to 25 years research on all the benefit of yoga and meditation, and found all those revelation shared by the gurus, yoga gurus, and people who are imparting training on meditation. All those are clinically trialed, tested, piloted, and the outcome reveals same what these gurus or those institutions who are running yoga classes, meditation classes are talking. Both are same. And in fact, Dr. Daniel Goleman has so many other revelation. He was always connected with almost all well-known teacher who were imparting or who are imparting yoga classes or meditation. For example, he had connected with His Highness Dalai Lama, who seems to be the great scholar when it comes to Buddhist meditation. He has similarly has made all other renowned people from this, because their whole idea was to connect doctors with these meditators and see what they are talking, and try that clinically if that is proven correct, right? All that happened, and all proven correct. Why? Because the electric magnetic field is obviously the new biology, part of new biology. Okay, and all the folks who are working in biology profession, or doctor or researcher or people who are manufacturing medicines, they easily heard that physics has nothing to do with biology. But if you look at the all the medical equipment, they are not based on the biology, they are more based on the physics, right? All the treatment, all the machines where we go for a CT scan, that is all based on the physics. When we measure temperature, that is all based on the physics. When we uh, check the VP or oxygen, all those tools are based out of physics, not the biology, right? Am I saying anything wrong here? Correct, right? So, biology and physics, I must say that biology is one part of physics. Physics is a very wide domain or subject, and we can say that physics is a superset of biology. And we had studied that quantum physics, which says that the smallest particle of mass is an atom, which has three particles in it, which is a neutron, proton, electron. But current quantum physics says that even if you drill down even more deeper than electron and proton and neutron, what scientists have found that there is a wide space in those particles which is filled with a lot of electromagnetic energy. So anything what you see, mountain, trees, human body, everything, actually at deeper level, at higher level, it is a mix of different energy. That's all. Whether it is a mass, whether it is living things, everything is made of energy, different kind of energy. That is why now you would have seen or you would have heard from many people that it is not appropriate to prepare a timetable, right? We have raised making a timetable, making a schedule, but time management is not something which we can do or which is in our hand, rather energy management. If we are able to manage energy, obviously we can follow that schedule. If energy is really disturbed, you do anything, timetable is not going to be followed, right? So that's the thing. What else goes in our thought process, what else goes in our work? There is another catch here. And what is that catch? Our mind, which is a super mind for all the cell what we have, has a two part in it. One is a conscious mind and another is a unconscious mind. Whatever have happened to our body or the way how it has evolved when you were in your mother womb, Until now, everything is pretty much stored in our memory, which is kept in subconscious memory. If we are able to integrate our subconscious mind with a conscious mind, we can evoke all those stories without any effort. We will never forget anything. And the unfortunate part here is our conscious mind is just 5 to 10%. The big part of our mind is subconscious mind. We would have experienced many times when we are doing something, we prepared everything, we planned everything, this is how it is going to be, this is what we are going to, we rehearse everything. But when you do the final things, a lot of things goes out of control, right? That means our conscious mind and subconscious mind are not connected to each other, are going completely in different direction. Through yoga and meditation, we can bring the harmony between two minds, and then you do anything, nothing is going to sabotage it, right? Because here 90% and 10% conscious mind, 90% subconscious mind. The biggest thing here, that 10% mind has capability to control next 90%, rest 90% mind. But that will happen only when you are so mindfully doing things, or you are living in a so mindful ways. How we can increase our mindfulness? There are so many practice. Meditation is one. Monks practice, which is called Buddhist meditation, is another. There are a lot of other programs which we can adopt or practice in our daily life and increase our mindfulness. When we are just 2 year old or before, we get a lot of learning, and you can definitely relate that I didn't learn anything before 2 year. It was all, I don't know what happened, what I did, nothing. Maybe just parent, what they have told us, what we were doing in our young age, that is what we know, right? But we have learned huge skills during that first 2 year time. So all the things what we observe unconsciously mostly are learned during that time. This is a hard thing and I should not touch. All that we have learned during that time. This is water, I should not go, I might drown. Those learnings are from that time. So all the parent what they have imparted, values, principles, methods of doing something, all that we have learned during that time. A lot of things when we were in our mother womb, what parents were talking about us, what they were talking about themselves, how their life was, in what community they were living, in what environment they have been living, all that we inherited in a very fast manner, which cannot be learned in that pace now when we are more than 2 year old. Slowly after 2 year, learning curve declines, which entails that if we have not learned something during that time, we are going to be like that? No. Still, we can change our whole environment. still we can change our whole DNA by just inculcating right environment, positive thought, eating right thing, drinking right beverage, thinking direction, thinking right direction. All that can change our DNA. So all that knowledge what we got in first 2 year, overall it is just 2 or 3%. All other things we can learn from the environment in rest of our life. We could be a learner until death. Even when you are died, there are a lot of values what you have done in this life that is also going to be passed to the your next life. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are doing. So this was the basic biology and new biology and new quantum physics, which says that our body is smallest particle of our body is nothing but electromagnetic field, not the atom, not the cell. And just inculcating right thought, just saying that, hey, I'm recovering from this particular pain. I'm I'm going to win this. I'm going to succeed in the exam. I'm going to get this. All that positive thoughts somewhere contribute to your life goals. I guess this was a informative session for all of you. And if you have anything to share, any feedback to give, feel free, send me direct message. And until we meet again, goodbye, take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.